Right, we have a news alert coming in right now. India has handed over a dossier to Pakistan after the Pulwama attack and has demanded action against terrorists. WION has accessed details of what that dossier contained. To give us more details on that dossier, I'm joined on the broadcast by my colleague, WION's Siddhant Sibal. Siddhant, what do you have for us?
Well, the latest update is the fact that India has given a 53-page dossier to Pakistan, and it has 9 annexures and lists 80 Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists. Remember, Jaish-e-Mohammed was the group behind the Pulwama terror attack, the attack which took place on 14th of February. Today, in fact, is 1 month since the terror attack, the worst on Indian security personnel in last many years. And the dossier has the addresses of the terrorists as well. And India has also given the list of terrorist camps, the location of these terror camps of Jaish-e-Mohammed and LET. Both these terror groups, both of course Pakistan-based, United Nations listed terror groups for which India and along with the world has been asking action as well. But it doesn't seem that Islamabad is keen to take action. We know that Islamabad has taken a few people in preventive detention, but it's part and parcel of the standard operating procedure from Pakistan. Whenever there is a major terror attack here in India, they do take people into preventive custody or what is known as arresting these people. But by and large, no action has been seen, with Pakistan aiding, abetting and providing safe haven to terrorists and terror infrastructure on its territory.
Right. Siddhant, also this development, of course, on the same day that India and Pakistan have held the first round of talks on the Kartarpur pilgrimage corridor. Pakistan has been trying to be very upbeat about this, this meeting between both sides. But India has been driving home the fact that this is not a bilateral engagement. Does this fact also, worth mentioning, the fact that India has maintained its stance is that terror and talks do not go hand in hand?
Well, and that stance, terror and talks can't go together, has been there for last many years, at least since the Modi government, because we have seen that even though there have been peace overtures, there hasn't been an official talk. And today also, what happened on the Atari-Wagah border on the Indian side were talks basically concerning the Kartarpur Corridor, something that has been the demand of Indian citizens of Sikh faith and along with other citizens as well, to have this corridor not from today but since 1970s. Only last year when India announced that it's going forward with the corridor, that Pakistan came under pressure and announced that it's also going forward for the entire corridor, which India has proposed that should be open not only for Indian citizens but Indian origin citizens as well. But turn on the issue of terror remains. That is something that India would like Pakistan to act on, show verifiable, irreversible action on the terror infrastructure which are present in Pakistan. Even though evidences have been given, and India does understand there is a futility in giving evidence to Pakistan, because they ultimately end up erasing the evidences, including the Pulwama evidence, which was Pakistan. The dossier was done in the end of February,
right.
And what we got to know from sources that Pakistan started erasing the digital signature of conversation and calls. But the point is to make sure that Pakistan and the world knows that where the origin of terrorism lies.
China has blocked the listing of Masood Azhar at the United Nations Security Council. This is the 4th time that Beijing has blocked the bid to list the Jaish-e-Mohammed chief as a global terrorist. An hour before the deadline, China placed a technical hold on the proposal moved by no less than 3 permanent members of the UN Security Council to list the JEM chief under the UN sanctions regime. The UN committee makes its decision by consensus among its members. Now, this proposal against Azhar had been moved by the US, the UK and France after JEM claimed responsibility for the Pulwama terror attack that killed 40 Indian security personnel in Kashmir last month. But China is a veto-wielding permanent member of the Security Council and, more importantly, it seems, an ally of Pakistan. It has blocked India's proposal from being adopted by the Sanctions Committee repeatedly. Pakistan, meanwhile, has been under growing international pressure to crack down on terror groups operating from its territory. The Pulwama attack led to the most serious escalation between India and Pakistan in years, with India conducting an airstrike on a JEM camp within Pakistan, which is followed by an aerial engagement along the line of control. Beijing's latest blocking to list Azhar raises questions about the apparent upswing in relations with New Delhi after last year's informal summit between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Xi Jinping at Wuhan. Meanwhile, India's permanent representative to the United Nations, Syed Akbaruddin, has tweeted cryptically on China's decision, saying that only one big state has held up the listing of Masood Azhar. Our principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibal gets us this report.
A day after China blocked the listing of Masood Azhar as an international terrorist under the United Nations Security Council's 1267 committee, there is a sense of betrayal here in New Delhi. We saw 2018 being a year of reset between India-China relationship, starting with the famous Wuhan summit in April, and then, of course, the Indian Prime Minister and the Chinese President meeting for 4 times in 2018. But it seems that the Wuhan spirit no longer exists because China clearly backing Pakistan. Masood Azhar is the chief of Jaish-e-Mohammed, the group behind the Pulwama terror attack in which India lost more than 40 of its CRPF personnel. Today marks 1 month since that dastardly attack in the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir, and terror remains the core concern for New Delhi. Terror from Pakistan, and it seems right now China has lot when it comes to Pakistan, especially the China-Pakistan economic corridor, and that is something that led Beijing to block the listing of Masood Azhar as an international terrorist for the 4th time at the United Nations Security Council, something that New Delhi will not forget and of course will see as the great Chinese betrayal. With video journalist Ankit Siddhant Sibal for WION World is One in New Delhi.
Under pressure after global condemnation for blocking the bid to ban Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar at the UN, China has now come out in defense of its decision. In a first reaction since it vetoed the UN resolution on Azhar, China said that it needed more time to conduct a thorough investigation. Now, already the US has issued a stern warning saying that members may be forced to pursue other action to declare Azhar a global terrorist. India has been at the receiving end of terrorism and has expressed its disappointment with China's decision. The case has already been vetoed by Beijing on 3 occasions since 2009.
中方呢，在1267委员会对有关国家这次提出的列明申请进行了全面深入的评估，我们还需要更多的时间，因此提出了技术性搁置。这个呢，完全符合安理会1267委员会的议事规则。就中方而言，我们真诚的希望，1267委员会的有关行动能够有助于有关国家通过对话协商解决问题，避免对地区的和平稳定增添复杂因素。中方会一如既往继续本着建设性、负责任的态度，同有关各方密切的沟通协调，来妥善处理好这一问题。
India, of course, has made it clear that the decision of China at the United Nations Security Council is simply a speed break or a road bump on its decision to fight terror. India's External Affairs Minister has also put the onus on Pakistan. Sushma Swaraj has challenged Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan to hand over the Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar to India if he is really serious about having peace in the region. Speaking at a conference, Mrs. Swaraj said that if Imran Khan is such a big statesman and wants to have good ties with India, then he should hand Azhar over to New Delhi.
पाकिस्तान के बारे में इंडियन पर्सपेक्टिव को ढंग से समझ लीजिए। ये जो हमारे यहाँ आवाज शुरू हो जाती है ना, इमरान खान बहुत बड़े स्टेट्समैन हैं, इमरान खान बहुत उदारता दिखा रहे हैं, वो तो पीस चाहते हैं। मैं कहना चाहती हूँ अगर इमरान खान इतने उदार हैं तो दे देना मसूद अजहर को, हमें देख लेंगे हम उनकी उदारता, दे दें मसूद अजहर को।
Swaraj added that India cannot have dialogue with Pakistan unless the neighbouring country acted against terror outfits. She said that India is capable of having a good relationship with Pakistan, provided Islamabad acts against terror groups acting with impunity on its territory. She said that Pakistan needed to control the ISI and its army, who are bent on destroying the bilateral ties between India and Pakistan time and again. Now, these remarks, of course, come in the backdrop of China blocking India's bid at the UNSC for the fourth time to get the JEM chief Masood Azhar listed as a designated global terrorist. China placed a technical hold on that proposal yet again. It's been exactly 1 month since the Pulwama terror attack. 40 soldiers of India's Central Reserve Police Force were killed in a suicide attack by Pakistan-based terror group Jaish-e-Mohammed on the 14th of February. India's response has been two-pronged: diplomatic isolation and military intervention. In the first, India has made it clear to Pakistan that terror and talks can't take place simultaneously. New Delhi has also leaned on the international community to rein Pakistan in. Barring China, which continues to handle Islamabad with kid gloves, the rest of the world has responded. But India has taken its stance against terror a step further. 12 days after the Pulwama attack, the Indian Air Force launched a preemptive non-military strike on Pakistan's Balakot. It struck one of the largest training camps of the Jaish-e-Mohammed. Additionally, India has launched a sweeping operation against Jaish members operating in the Kashmir Valley. In the last month alone, Indian security forces have neutralized 18 Jaish terrorists, including Mudassar Khan, the key conspirator of the Pulwama attack. Up until that attack, there were 56 Jaish terrorists operating in the Kashmir Valley. Only 38 remain. Of these, 23 are Pakistanis. There have been 26 encounters between terrorists and security forces, including one that lasted for more than 100 hours. India has lost 16 of its men in the counter-terrorist operations in the last month. All this while, Pakistan has violated the ceasefire more than 80 times, leading to the deaths of 7 civilians. For the first time since the attack on CRPF personnel in Jammu and Kashmir, India engaged with Pakistan. The two countries held a meeting on the Kartarpur Pilgrimage Corridor, and the first round of talks have concluded. India and Pakistan released a joint statement after these meetings. Both sides held constructive discussions on the proposed corridor. They also agreed to work towards expediting the operation of the corridor. The next meeting is scheduled for the 2nd of April. Before the delegates meet, technical experts from both sides will meet at the 0 point to sort out details on the alignment of the corridor. India is also building a passenger terminal on its side of the border along the Kartarpur Corridor. The terminal will handle immigration and customs clearance facilities for 5,000 pilgrims a day. It will have a fully air-conditioned, disabled-friendly building with 21,650 square meters built-up area. The complex will have kiosks, cloakrooms and adequate parking space. The Land Ports Authority of India is expected to complete the terminal before November 2019, when the 550th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, founder of the Sikh faith, will be celebrated. Pakistan's Foreign Ministry has called the meeting a positive engagement. The spokesperson for the Ministry of in Pakistan claimed that the atmosphere was conducive for talks.
जी बड़ी पॉजिटिव मीटिंग है, बड़ी अच्छी गुफ्तगू हुई है और हम आगे बढ़ सके हैं चूँकि एनवायरनमेंट कंड्यूसिव था. दे वर वेरी वेलकमिंग जी. सारी मीटिंग बड़ी पॉजिटिव एनवायरनमेंट में हुई है. लेट्स सी, डेट भी तय हो गई है अगली मीटिंग की. एक्सपर्ट लेवल डायलॉग जो है वो अगले ट्यूसडे को होगा और वो मौके पे होगा, बिकॉज वो अलाइनमेंट टेक्निकल चीजें हैं, तो वो मौके पे वहां पे मिल के तय कर लेंगे. काफी सारा काम उनकी तरफ हुआ है जी. इसकी फर्दर डिटेल आपको टेक्निकल मीटिंग के साथ बता देंगे. पे कोई वीजा कंडीशन तो है नहीं, वीजा फ्री कॉरिडोर.
But India made it clear that these talks are purely related to Kartarpur and don't hint at any sort of bilateral engagement. Let's turn our attention to the elections in India. They're slated for next month, but in a big setback to the Congress party ahead of those elections, the veteran leader and a long-time spokesperson, Tom Badakan, decided to join the BJP today. Flanked by the BJP senior leadership and Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, Vadakan was scathing in his criticism of the Congress party, saying that there was no place for self-respecting people in the Congress. He said he was deeply disappointed by his party's questioning of the integrity of the armed forces after the airstrikes at the Jaish-e-Mohammed terror camps in Pakistan's Balakot. Vadakan spent more than 3 decades in the Congress and also helped Sonia Gandhi build her media team. He was part of the media planning strategy but was seen less in the public recently. Vadakan, however, has never fought an election.
I left the Congress party is with a heavy heart because the attack by the Pakistani terrorist on our land and the reaction from my party was sad indeed. It hurt me deeply when you question the integrity of the armed forces. I'm deeply hurt, and that's precisely the reason why I'm here.
In other news, Facebook has suffered its worst outage in history. The social network's parent site and apps Messenger and Instagram were down for more than 17 hours. Users across the world reported trouble logging into their Facebook and Messenger accounts on Wednesday. Users of the photo-sharing app Instagram were unable to upload pictures and refresh their feeds. Some users also reported disruption in messaging app WhatsApp services, but Instagram and Facebook remained worst hit. According to reports, Brazil, the United Kingdom, the United States and India were worst affected by the outage. Outraged netizens took to Facebook's rival Twitter to vent their frustration over the outage. Soon Facebook down was trending on Twitter. It was also on Twitter that Facebook confirmed the disruption in services of its family of apps. The social media giant said that it was looking into the issue. Instagram too acknowledged on Twitter that its users have not been able to access the photo sharing app. Facebook has recovered from the outage in most parts of the world, but it is yet to issue an explanation for what exactly happened. Facebook has, however, denied reports that the outage was the result of a distributed denial of service attack or a type of cyber attack that involves flooding a target service with extremely high volumes of traffic using corrupted codes. The last time Facebook suffered an outage of this scale was in 2008. But even as that continued, reports emerged that US prosecutors have opened up criminal investigations into deals that Facebook struck with some of the world's largest technology companies. It's been accused of sharing user data with companies without their permission.